Penny, Penny, Penny.
I'm ready.
Hulk smash!
But Arbiter friend?
Am I not the captain of this ship?
You're a wizard, Harry.
Shadow Clone Jutsu!
Misty Messenger.
And the Billboard Music Award goes to BTS!
Winter is coming.
Well, hello, Larry.
Hey, how you doing?
Bye-bye!
Hello, 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 and welcome to Let's Talk Fandoms, a podcast where we talk about all things fandom. Today, I've got such an amazing person with me who not only makes me feel like a child, but I think just embodies everything that was great about youth and being a child. So today I've got Cheyenne Jefferies with me.
Oh, you're making me blush. Hello, everyone.
I am so happy to have you here. I know that when I was thinking about my topic for this podcast and just like talking about fandoms, I definitely knew that like you and your fiance Hunter were people that I really wanted to get on the podcast.
I'd say we're both pretty interesting people in two different ways, but yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Well, I'm super happy to be talking with you about cartoons, all types of cartoons from the past, some that have helped us like grow up into the people we are, as well as some of the newer ones that have come out, and really just kind of diving into, I guess, what kind of cartoons are we interested in? So do you remember how we first met?
I do and I don't. So as far as I can remember, let's see, my fiance Hunter introduced me to the Fandom Society. He was on the sort of board of directors with you. He's like, hey, you should come to this thing. You'll like it. And I'm like, okay, when is it? Do I have time? Because college is busy. And so I was able to come a couple times, and I met you through that, which technically was through him.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's pretty much how I remember it. I'm really terrible at like remembering specific times when I meet people, but I definitely know that the organization, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know I met a lot of people in college, and specifically Fandom Society, which Hunter and like 4 other people really helped us get up and going. I think I got really close to Hunter after we had like a class together, and then within the organization, like I met you and I thought you were just like one of the coolest people ever.
Oh.
When were you first introduced to the term fandom?
Fandom Society. Literally before Fandom Society, I remember when Hunter introduced me to Fandom Society, I'm just like, what's a fandom?
I love it.
So like the term is in a sense an umbrella of just things that people like.
Yeah.
It seems like. But yeah, until Fandom Society, I think I heard of fandom before, but I just thought it was like something for anime, like the fans of an anime.
Okay. Oh, that warms my heart.
Oh, is it heartwarming because you started Fandom Society?
Fuck yeah, it is. What? Heck yeah, it is.
Heck yeah.
Fandom Society literally is my baby. But okay, going back, how would you define the term fandom?
It's kind of as the name implies. It's a bunch of fans for I feel like it's specifically the word kingdom. It is a group of people, specifically fans for a specific thing. Like with the kingdom metaphor, it'd be like, let's say the king would be Steven Universe, something like that. And it's just like, you either like the king, you don't like the king, you exist in their kingdom, you don't have to live in their kingdom.
Interesting.
But the people who live in that kingdom are their fans.
Interesting.
That's kind of how I like to think of it.
I like that. I haven't heard it like that, and I really like that.
I've never heard anyone ever describe it, so that's my own interpretation.
Wonderful. I love it so much. What were the first like fandom or fandoms that you knowingly understood that you had become a part of? And kind of like what did that mean to you to define yourself as a part of that fandom or a fan of XYZ?
A fan of XYZ.
Yeah.
I'd say I definitely realized it through Fandom Society.
Okay.
Specifically like through Hunter. Through Hunter, I learned like through superheroes. It's other people like superheroes, and it's cool to know that. Mm-hmm. Whereas before the first Iron Man movie, it just seemed like there weren't really fans of superheroes, but they were just kind of quiet about it.
Okay.
And then Marvel came out with the Iron Man movie. It's just like, it's cool to be a superhero fan now.
Yeah.
So that was probably my first real experience with that. Just knowing, like, you had, like, games and things throughout Fandom Society where you'd talk about different fandoms. And doing that helped me realize, in a sense, I like that too.
I love that.
Yeah, I just remember being like, oh, these are communities. These are a group of people like these as well as me, and I could relate to people through this. Common interest exists? What?
Oh my god, it makes me so happy that that's what you got out of Fandom Society, because that was such a big reason why I started the organization. Aww. And such a big reason why I wanted to was, for me personally, when I learned about fandoms, it was such a gateway of just a way of like meeting new people and feeling confident and being excited about something and not feeling awkward or shut down by other people.
Like, there's people who probably feel the same way, but once you kind of mention it to them, they can also open up about it.
Yeah. So today we're talking about all things cartoons, both children cartoons, young adult cartoons, and adult cartoons. So what were some cartoons that you really, really enjoyed watching in the past that you might still watch again for that nostalgia kick?
Well, the biggest one right now would have to be Avatar the Last Airbender, because as a child, I distinctly remember being in middle school and the last 5 episodes came out like each day of the week, but before each new episode, they would show the old episode, and I could just remember just sitting there being so hyped for it. And I'm just like, oh, this is so exciting. And then like a few years down the line, I'm like, man, do I miss that show? And I actually have like the DVD box set of it. Oh, yeah. And then The Legend of Korra came out down the line, and I don't understand where people are getting all upset over Legend of Korra. I personally liked it, but you have to truly think of it as 2 separate entities, because when you start comparing the two, they're 2 separate shows. They just take place in the same universe.
I completely agree.
I also have that on DVD.
I love that. That's so cute. I didn't actually get into Avatar the Last Airbender, oh god, until I think college. Because I heard about it and then didn't really check it out and was just like, oh, I don't know much about it. And it wasn't until college that I actually watched it. And even in college, I think I only watched the first season. And honestly, it wasn't until very recently, maybe like around the time that quarantine started, that I was like, hey, I have a lot of extra time. Maybe I should see what all the hype is.
Very true. And Netflix made it all possible.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. The fact that Netflix put all of it
Any regret?
Oh, it is so good. I mean, watching it, I think I watched it completely through in like a week and was just like, is it weird if I like go back and just rewatch it again?
Not at all. I'm rewatching it now. Like, if I don't have something else to watch, I'm like, all right, let's pop up Avatar.
Yes. And then I did start watching Legend of Korra very recently. I think I started it in like June, and it's so good. And I completely agree with you on the idea that like if you think of it as two completely different shows just in the same universe, then it's a really good show.
Oh yeah.
And I've been all over Tumblr and all over Reddit, and there are a lot of people that are like very upset with it and very angry. And I just don't find any like validity in what they're saying or like why they're thinking
I
this.
think the biggest complaints people have with Korra is Korra the person, because you get Aang, who's just like this kind-hearted soul and just someone you can't even relate to, honestly.
Right.
And then you get Korra, who's like that friend that you always hear about in school that's always getting in trouble.
Exactly.
Where you kind of want to be their friend, but you're just like, I don't know if I like you or not.
Right.
And the things that I relate to whenever I hear people comparing the two is that Aang was, what was it exactly? It was like, Aang is a person who is trying to learn how to be the Avatar, whereas Korra was the Avatar trying to learn how to be human.
Yes, and I really like that you brought that up, because when I was watching Legend of Korra, I really liked getting a different perspective of, you're introduced to this, teenager who knows they're the Avatar and who's known pretty much since birth. And
I am the Avatar and you have to deal with it.
Exactly. And it's a time completely different than when Aang was there. And just, not only does her family know, but the whole town knows. And she's very upfront about any place that she goes. It's very much like, I am the Avatar, get over it. And I think I do really like that the second chapter, I almost call it, of just the whole Legend of Korra is all about, like you said, learning to be an everyday person who is also the Avatar.
Who's up?
Yeah. What were some other shows from your past?
Some of them were just simple, like SpongeBob, the original, like, few seasons.
Yes.
I definitely think that one helped shape my childhood as well as a little bit into adulthood, because now, like, those kids who used to watch the same cartoon that I used to watch now create those memes from the original couple of seasons, and I'm like, I still remember watching that, and
yes.
I quote those things now.
How do you feel about the newer, I guess, version and aspects of SpongeBob? The new art style, the new dialogue, the new situations?
Unfortunately, how I feel they handle SpongeBob is that realistically, it kind of should have ended a while ago. Yeah. Like, what's kind of carrying the show now seems to be, instead of SpongeBob being like this hardworking friend who's just kind of a goofball, and Patrick being an idiot, now they're both kind of idiots.
Yeah.
And it relies heavily on the art style. Like, I remember watching maybe one of the newest season episodes and just thinking, oh my, this is such a drastic change, that it just felt like it was too heavily relying on the artwork to make it funny.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. I know my roommate and I specifically have talked about how just not only the art style that we just don't like, but also the way that the characters are and are interacting with each other has really, for us, gone downhill.
Yeah, like, instead of being these well-rounded characters with different characteristics, they've gone to, like, one-tone characters.
Yeah.
Where Squidward's always angry. Mr. Krabs loves money.
Yeah. Yeah. But the older first few seasons, I will agree, are just, such good work. So phenomenal. Absolutely amazing. Just could rewatch forever.
Oh, yeah. I love rewatching it with my nephew, who is now 11. He'll rewatch just if they come on TV, and it'll be like the first couple episodes, and I'm quoting them, and he's just sitting there looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, hey, this was out before you were born. I'm allowed to quote this.
Yeah, exactly. Did you ever watch Hey Arnold?
Now, I will admit there is a slight age gap between you and me.
That is true.
So, the 90s cartoons, some of them I did end up watching, but nothing like Hey Arnold, but things like Dexter's Laboratory or the Powerpuff Girls. So, for me, it was more early 2000s than the kind of late 90s.
So a show that I remember was Johnny Bravo. Did you ever watch that?
I did watch Johnny Bravo. I didn't watch a lot of it, but that was around the time where I was, in a sense, trying to stop watching Cartoon Network because parents are like, you're in middle school now. You should watch adult shows. And I'm like, so does that mean I can finally watch Adult Swim? No, you're not old enough for that yet.
Absolutely not. I vaguely, like super vaguely remember watching Johnny Bravo with my brother, and I remember considering that to be an old cartoon.
Did you ever watch, like, Chowder and Flapjack?
No.
Those were ones that were on Cartoon Network, and Chowder was just... I didn't realize this till I was older, but all the characters' names, they're all named after food. Like Endive, Panini, Truffles, Schnitzel.
Oh my god!
And something that just kind of baffled me as a kid was... There's a few things about the show, but like their clothing would be one texture, but as they were moving, the texture wouldn't move with their clothes. Like they would move and the texture would change. Like they're moving across this tapestry, this cartoon.
Oh my god.
And even within the episode, they have like, you could call it a formula where they would be cooking a dish. Chowder would do something silly, put him into harm's way, and then they'd have to solve the problem. They actually have an episode where they're like, all right, Chowder, I'm going to turn my back while you do something silly like I know you're going to do, and let's see what happens.
Oh my god.
And the weird thing to the other cartoon, Flapjack, it was definitely one of those newer, older cartoons that I really like to watch. And it was just about this kid who, his parental figure is basically a pirate, and they both live inside of a whale.
Oh.
And so Flapjack is this happy-go-lucky kid, and the pirate, whose name is Captain Knuckles, is just like this grumpy old man. And so you just get like Flapjack, who wants to do everything and make him proud, and he's just like, why don't you go steal some candy for me? Because the big thing for them was that they wanted to be adventurers.
Right.
And specifically, they wanted to go to Candy Island.
Oh.
But they could, like, they were afraid to leave the pier that they kind of grew up on, so to speak. Especially because the whale, who could talk, was like, Flapjack, baby, come here. You're not allowed to go anywhere.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that one was extra weird because, like, at one point in time, Captain Knuckles, who has, like, wooden legs, stole someone's legs. And then whenever they gave back the legs, it was like, you've freed me, Flapjack, and now all of your dreams will come true. And Flapjack's just like, even the scary ones? And she just goes, ha, 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 ha. Yes.
Oh, my God. So what you're explaining to me, not the exact content, but the, how do I say it? But the...
cartoons just got weirder.
Yeah, that it makes me think of, and I don't know if you watched it because, and it was on Disney, But it was around the time when I started to stop watching like this more children-based cartoons. But I really enjoyed the show Brandy and Mr. Whiskers.
I remember that show, Brandy and Mr. Whiskers.
Yeah! I remember loving the animation and loving the theme song. Thinking it was just the coolest thing.
I don't know why, but for some reason I never really watched Disney Channel too much, just because they did more, what's it called, live action shows.
Yeah.
And there's just I can't watch them now more, but there was just something about kid actors that just ruffled my jammies.
I completely agree with you.
I was like, I want to be like them. Better.
Better. All right. Were there any other shows from your past that you loved?
Well, there was like the original Teen Titans. I don't even know what to call it. The good Teen Titans.
The only like accurate and wonderful Teen Titans.
That had an overarching story, that knew how to be funny without being just uncomfortably funny.
Yeah.
Like, it was just so good, and I, like, looking back, I relate so hard with Starfire, because I'm just like, English was my first language. Why am I so bad at speaking it? So I just feel like Starfire in that sense sometimes. But it was such a great show, and I can't even remember. I don't think it did, but I felt like it needed another season because it just ended on a cliffhanger.
I do remember that. I remember it ending and them saying, like, there won't be another season. And I remember being so confused the way that they ended it.
Oh, yeah, because there's something about Tara. Beast Boy found Tara at a school, and, like, this whole Raven saga had just ended.
Yeah.
And so, like, you never realized if that was actually Tara, but you're pretty sure it's Tara, just without her memories. Anyway, did you ever watch Courage the Cowardly Dog?
We interrupt this program to bring you Courage the Cowardly Dog Show! Starring Courage!
So, I don't want to say I have issues with that show, because I don't. But I kind of do.
Well, most people, they found the show, in a sense, uncomfortable?
Yes. So, I was very young when I tried watching that show. I think I was like 6 or 7. And the first episode I watched, I don't even know what it was about. Or at least I can't remember what it was about. But I remember being so scared that I didn't sleep for like a few days.
Wow.
Like I remember having nightmares, and ever since then I've never tried watching it again. Even as an adult, I'm like, I just have bad memories. I don't even want to go there. But my roommate loves it and talks about it, and I'm just like, I don't want to watch it. I can't.
You're like, I don't get it. Don't make me watch it.
Exactly. But I know it was very popular.
Well, I think the reason I liked it so much was because as a kid, my dad would like run his own haunted house. And so growing up, Halloween was a big thing in my household.
Ooh.
And so I think watching Courage, like those scary moments, I was just kind of like, I was just so invested, kind of being like, how does Courage get out of this one? Or what's going to happen? Kind of thing. Like looking back. I think the episode that people didn't like the most, I really enjoyed, because it was like one where Eustace, he didn't steal something from a museum, but like somehow they got a hold of this stolen slab from a museum. And so the slab had like 3 curses on it. And so randomly throughout the episode, outside of the house, you'd see this poor CGI thing. It was like bad CGI, and you just hear, return the slab or suffer my curse. And then Eustace would be just like, we don't want any. And then shut the door, and then the curse would happen. And so it took until like the final curse for courage to just yeet this slab back to the tomb or something. The last curse was like locusts, and it was eating the house, and Muriel's just yelling at Eustace like, Eustace, get rid of that stupid thing! That one I really liked, but I know it freaked out a lot of people because it was like, it was a flood, it was terrible music, and they couldn't figure out where it was coming from. Locusts.
Oh, man. Literally just the plagues.
Yeah. More
oh, man.
Less. The original Powerpuff Girls.
Oh, so good.
Like, I didn't realize it until I was older, but that show taught me a lot of life lessons that I didn't really realize.
I 100% agree. Oh my god, yes.
I think they tried to do that with the newer version, because I just wanted to watch it to see what they did different and those kind of things. And, like, they kind of tried to do it, but it almost seemed like they did it out of order. Like, the order for the original show. Like, the first episode is, if I remember correctly, was something about, you remember how Buttercup didn't like to take baths or something like that? And so the first episode was literally like them trying to teach Buttercup she had to bathe or something like that. And I'm just like, why is this happening already?
Yeah. I remember one of my favorite episodes of the original Powerpuff Girls was, and like when I watched it later, I was just like, holy crap, they're just out here teaching kids.
Yeah.
Like, who needs preschool? Just watch the Powerpuff Girls.
And it had some adult humor. I love that's one of the things I love going back and watching. You're just like, oh, this was here the whole time?
Yes.
Where that one episode that gave us that Signal in the Sky song.
Yes.
It had like that new neighbor kid. And the professor's just like, yeah, the girls were an accident. I made them in a lab. And she's just like,
Don't worry, Professor. I was an accident too.
Yeah. Oh, man.
We're an accident. Looking back, I'm like, oh, how did I miss that? But I just didn't know.
Yeah. Oh, God. Man, the Powerpuff Girls were so good. And I think what I really loved about the show, and a lot of shows from like early to mid 90s, was there, at least to me and my brother, and like now as an adult, it didn't seem like, although the Powerpuff Girls was about 3 young girls, it wasn't meant for only young girls to watch.
Yeah.
And I think I really loved that.
Especially whenever they introduced, like, the Rowdy Rough Boys, I think.
Yeah! And I really felt that way about Ed, and Eddy.
Oh, yeah.
I really love that show.
I was so happy that show actually had an end to it.
Yes.
That was something I really liked. But, oh, yeah, Ed and Eddy I loved. And the Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think Double D's hiding underneath of his sock hat? I love the fan theory where everyone thinks he had like a horrible dodgeball accident. Because
Wait, what?
Oh, so you know that. So what? There's like, you know how Double D never loved to reveal or take off his hat in front of people.
Right.
And so everybody has theorized because of this one episode where they're playing dodgeball, or they just mention dodgeball really briefly in the episode. Double D is just standing there being like, no, Eddy, the flashbacks, Eddy, I can't take it. And Double D's just freaking out while gripping his hat. And so people have theorized that was kind of what led to him wearing his hat all the time. So he was in like a horrible dodgeball accident or something.
Oh, wow. The only fan conspiracy theory that I see just so many times about Ed, and Eddy specifically is a lot of people say that like their entire life in the show is like in purgatory.
Oh, I don't know. I've never heard that one.
There's a very similar one about the Rugrats. And not purgatory, but that like everyone except for Dill is dead. And
I think I've heard that one.
And I'm not sure how much I like that.
Those kind of fan theories interest me, but like I don't believe them, if that makes any sense, because they're like so out there that I don't believe that the creators went into the show with that intent.
Right, exactly. So the one about Ed, and Eddy, it says that the cul-de-sac that they live on is cursed, and its former residents died before they grew up, and therefore they are now stuck in the cul-de-sac on another plane, which, aka purgatory. Yeah.
That was interesting. It's just one of those shows that doesn't leave the area.
Yeah, and there was one, of course I can't think of it now, but it's Pokemon, duh. And there's a lot of fan theories that like Ash is in a coma.
I like that one just because he's stuck being 10.
Yeah.
For all these seasons of the show.
I think it's kind of a really cool idea about it.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that was the intent. Like, he was just going to be 10 because people can relate to a 10-year-old who doesn't look like a 10-year-old. But you just happened to be the main character for multiple seasons and just continued to be 10 for some reason.
Right.
Did you ever watch Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy?
I didn't really start watching the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy until like high school, and I love them. I think they're amazing.
Like, the weird thing is I remember watching the show a lot, but thinking about it, I'm just like, why can't I remember anything that happened?
100%. I remember spending hours watching it, and like instantly when you said it and like brought it up, I was like, man, I don't remember shit.
Like, I remember the Halloween special because I watched that the most. But I think Irwin was a character who was in love with Mandy. Irwin, as Billy loved to address him.
Man.
So that was one of the weird ones that was like teetering on the fence of weird.
Right.
But not like the stupid kind of weird that I think most modern cartoons are now.
Right, yeah.
And then you have Kids Next Door.
I freaking loved Codename Kids Next Door. Oh my god.
I wanted to be one. I don't remember if you were at that age.
I can't even tell you how many times I begged my mom to help me build a treehouse.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to be one of those kids. I wanted to be on the block. I was so upset that it couldn't be real. Oh man, I freaking loved that show.
I just remember, like, whenever you're a teenager, women had to have bras, and so I remember learning about what those are, and I'm like, I don't want to have a bra because that'll make me a teenager, and that means I always have my battle-ready armor with me.
Oh man.
Because all of those were, what's the word? Where you use the first letter and create a whole...
like an anagram?
Yeah, that's what like a bunch of things in that show were. And I thought that was just amazing.
I remember there was this computer game of the show. I would play that thing every day after school.
I remember that. I loved it. Is it the one where they incorporated a bunch of Cartoon Network games into it? Or the separate one?
I'm not sure. I just remember that you got to play as like one of the kids. And like every time you logged in, you could be like a different one. And you would go through all these different adventures that were from multiple different episodes. But,
I remember being a music major. I was playing this song one time, practicing for my piano test, and I hit like a few notes back to back, and I'm just like, hang on, why does that sound familiar? And so I start playing them again, and I'm just like, oh, it's the Rainbow Monkeys theme song. And so I actually had to go through and figure out what the heck the actual notes were for it. And once I figured it out, I'm like, I did it!
Oh my god, that is phenomenal.
So many music friends that I know, they'll like hear a part to a song in something they're playing, and they'll just be like, hang on, give me a minute. I know this from something else, hang on. And I just had to do that with that song specifically.
Yeah.
Like, it was one of those blasts from the past that just smacked you in the face, and you're just like, I gotta figure this one out, hang on.
Well, speaking of blast from the past smacking you in the face, I think it was a few years ago or a year ago, I found on YouTube, do you know who Butch Hartman is?
Yeah, I was subscribed to him on YouTube, and I follow him on Facebook.
Oh my god, I love it. So I found his YouTube channel at least a year or more back. The nostalgia smacked me in the face.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god. If you guys don't know who Butch Hartman is, he is the creator and animator for both The Fairly Odd Parents and Danny Phantom.
Both great cartoons. One more than the other.
Just phenomenal cartoons. But also on his YouTube channel, he talks about his idea for Danny Phantom and how it came to start. Oh,
and like where the theme song came from,
yes.
How they came up with it. And like if you just like art in general, just go check it out, because he'll draw like superheroes in the Danny Phantom art style.
Oh my god, he has this whole series that he does that I watch so many times, where he draws characters from both of the shows, like what he thinks they would look like as adults.
Yeah.
Oh my god, he is just such a powerhouse when it comes to drawing and animation. I mean, totally obsessed.
Oh, Danny Phantom.
He's a phantom.
I mean, just such a good show.
Oh, yeah. Especially the funniest part is that his parents hunt ghosts, and he is a ghost, and they just don't realize it. It's like, how do you not know? It's Danny Phantom and Danny Fenton.
Fenton? I remember dying at their last name. And I like that you brought up the parents and what they do, because that type of like a scenario always reminds me of Phineas and Ferb with their sister Candace.
Mom!
And yes. Oh, I just love that so much for a children's show. I think it's so good, personally, to have those just reoccurring aspects.
Oh, yeah. It helps keep the show grounded in a sense, where they can just do all kinds of things, but then you come back to that and you're just like, hey, yeah, we're in this little world, right? Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
Freaking genius show.
Oh, yeah.
If I had seen that show when I was like a kid, it would have changed, I think, my world, because I don't think I ever had an imaginary friend.
I think that shows the reason I had an imaginary friend.
And I remember kids in elementary school who would like talk about their imaginary friend, and I remember thinking they were bonkers.
Crazy.
I was like, how does that even work? And now, like, as an adult watching Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, man, was I missing out.
But because of that show, Hunter and I, we play Dungeons and Dragons together. Anytime there's any kind of secret, me and another friend are just like, secret door, secret door, secret door, secret door.
I love it.
We either go to secret door or secret tunnel.
Yeah, I forget the next couple lines, but then it goes, secret tunnel, through the mountains, secret, secret, secret tunnel.
It just depends on the setting. Every time I sing the song, I always picture that one girl who's just dancing with her arms up above her head, and I'm just vibing.
Oh, I love it. Are there other shows, kind of as an adult, that you've seen come up that are really good? Or are there shows, even as an adult, that you've seen that are maybe not that great, that you maybe wouldn't recommend? Or
as an adult, I mean, I loved Gravity Falls.
Yes.
Been out off the air for almost 4 years now or something like that.
Yeah.
And it still has
I've seen it have just an incredibly loyal fan base. And I don't think I started watching Gravity Falls until college, because I don't think I really knew it. And I do think that Fandom Society introduced me to a lot. And even though I was introduced to these things, we were in college.
Yeah.
And I had 3 jobs. Yeah, especially since graduating, I missed that comfortability and that community that Fandom Society allowed me to have and allowed me to feel comfortable with. And I feel like this podcast really allows me to kind of like touch on that and have that and get back together with friends and see them again and then talk to them about
life.
Yeah, like, I mean, honest, like talking, I mean, so much of fandoms are so intertwined with like growing up.
And there was also, I don't know if you ever watched it, but it was Star versus the Forces of Evil.
I think I've heard of it. I don't think I've actually ever watched it.
Now that one, the plot of the show was really good and I enjoyed it.
Okay.
But the first season, it, as people call it, was full of filler episodes.
Oh.
And so once it got away from like the filler episodes, I think the main reason was that they either didn't know what they were going to do with the show, or they just didn't have like an overarching idea of where it's going to go, how long they're going to get to do it.
Right.
And it was kind of had the same kind of problem as Steven Universe. I'll talk about that later. Where like the first season was just full of filler and sprinkled in some plot.
Yeah.
But once Star versus the Forces of Evil started to pick up at the pace, you're just like, oh, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And then, unfortunately, the end was good, but it just kind of...
Was it?
I enjoyed it, but it kind of fell short of expectations. I think Disney also helped with that, because Disney's great at hyping up a show. And then once it comes out, you're just kind of like, what? I think that's a Disney problem. But, like, it was really good. The show ends. It's a nice conclusion. It makes you want more.
Okay.
But it's a good end for the show.
Okay. Interesting.
Like, there's people out there right now that are like, we want a movie. We want another season. And it's like you can have more to it, but it had an ending, and I'm not sure if they could do more. They could definitely explore more in the world.
So while you were talking about that, I instantly thought of the live-action TV show that I loved called Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide.
Anytime I think of that show, I think of the scene where it's like, recycle! And then there's this gang of people appear and they just attack to recycle.
Right. Yeah. And what's his name? Darren Norris, who plays the voice of Cosmo in The Fairly Odd Parents. And I think he also voices the father in the same show. He's the janitor.
Oh, yeah, I knew that.
But it made me think about it because I loved the show. And I remember coming home from school and like immediately turning it on and being like, okay, there's a new episode. Like I could watch it. Like, let's go. And
that's a show that's kind of gone on a little too long.
Yeah, exactly. So I do think that maybe the first, oh man, I don't even know. I don't know if it was just the first season or the first 2 seasons that I thought were really great because it didn't have a continuous plot.
Fair. I think I liked it up until around Poof came about.
Oh, I'm talking about Ned's Declassified.
Ah, we flipped the script. I liked Ned's Declassified, but I didn't watch it all the time.
So I watched it frickin' religiously. But once there was this like plot that you had to like think about and remember for the next episode and the next and the next, I remember really not liking that because I loved the formula of like
something different every day. Yeah, because it actually taught you something new every day.
It literally taught you stuff about school, and I was like, I'm in school. Perfect. This is amazing. But once it got to the point where I think where I really started going downhill for me was when Ned and Mose
had feelings for each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't care.
You're like, that felt a little forced.
Yeah. And I didn't like it. And then they tried to make that whole Ned, Mose, Susie triangle. And I was just like, but why? And then I remember there was a scene, or like maybe an episode or two, where that bully Loomer then started liking Mose, and I was like,
I remember that.
Yeah.
It got weird. It felt like they stopped giving advice, and then it turned into like a drama series.
A very terrible drama series. Yes. But as for Fairly Odd Parents, I completely agree. The minute that the baby showed up, I was like, fuck this.
I mean, I watched a little after the baby happened, but then it just felt recycled with the baby.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, aw, I actually liked this show.
Well, and I had stopped watching for many years. But then I learned that then they added a dog.
Yeah, they added a dog. I think I saw a few of those, and I think now there's a child who shares the fairies with Timmy.
Yeah, there's this little girl who now they have to like share. And I'm like, no. I'm not sharing shit.
Another show that I liked as an adult was Steven Universe.
Yes.
I don't know if you ever watched it.
I've recently, and I mean like during quarantine recently, started watching it. And it's interesting. I do agree with kind of what you said before, where the first season for me was almost like a struggle to get through. But then when I got through it, now it's great.
You're just like, wait, this plot thing happened and it's continuing?
And I do believe that some shows just really need that.
And I know, well, I'm pretty sure for that, it was really, they had one season, I think.
Yeah.
And so then they got renewed for 3 or 4 more seasons. I can't remember if they had 5.
I remember it was like they got renewed for a few more. Like it was more than 2.
Yeah, but what... It was weird. What they wanted to do was have like the second season be 50 episodes again, but instead of doing that, they broke it down into 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And so the formula kind of got a little shifty, cattywampus. So some things fell short that you were looking forward to, whereas other things you finally got to see it on the screen. You're like, ah!
Yeah.
And then they made Steven Universe Future, which I honestly liked, but I know a lot of people were just kind of upset that they couldn't really like explore past Steven, but in a sense that the series, that portion was all about Steven trying to figure out, now what am I gonna do? It was like an epilogue, so to speak.
Right.
And so whenever people didn't think of it as an epilogue, I think that's why they got upset with them, because like the show had a bunch of ideas it just wanted to explore, and this was unfortunately a show that got crunched with time. They're just like, we have all this stuff that we want to do, but we have like no time to do it, so we got to rush through some things, cut some things.
Yeah.
But I did really enjoy the show, but looking back, I'm just like, man, I do wish they could have done this.
Yeah. Oh,
unfortunately.
Man. What are some, like, I guess, adult-themed cartoons that you have found to be really fun?
The big staple is Rick and Morty.
Yeah. Yes.
I think recently, thanks to quarantine, got finished season 5, season 4, whatever the newest season was.
Right.
And so it's just so interesting because it's sort of gone away from what made the show in the beginning, where it's just Rick and Morty adventures.
Yeah.
And now you're getting to like harder themes of just like, do I love my daughter or not? I love my daughter, but which one's my real daughter? Kind of thing.
I think my favorite episode ever was when they had the, oh man, I might even butcher the name, are they called the Mises?
Mr. Meesinks.
Yeah. That's always just been one of my favorite.
Oh, I'm not sure I have a favorite. The one that just sticks out in my mind right now is the train episode, where they literally talk about the formula that they have for every episode. The train is a metaphor for how they run their episodes. Mm-hmm. And so the entire episode itself is a fourth wall break. And so I don't remember who I saw on YouTube after that, but they like explored why it was this and so on. The one channel that I subscribe to the most about cartoon theories is called The Round Table.
Oh, okay.
I do recommend them, but they just talked about how the creators themselves talk about this formula. And
interesting. By
mentioning the formula in the show, they were kind of able to break away from it.
Interesting. I really like that. Have you seen, and I'm trying to think, it's from the same creators of Rick and Morty, so Justin
I haven't
Roland.
gotten to watch that yet. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So the show that we're talking about is called Solar Opposites.
Yeah.
And I've watched it fully twice now. It is so good. And it is, I think what I love so much about it is that...
Where can you watch it?
You can watch it on Hulu. Hulu. It is so good. There's only one season out currently because it only literally just came out.
Yeah, wasn't that the show that like it was supposed to air like last year, and then it was just like, what happened to this show? That's kind of why I fell off the train for that one. Like I really wanted to watch it, and then I'm just like, is it actually out now, or are people just excited that it was gonna be out? And so
it's out on YouTube. It's out on Hulu. It is so good. And I think what I really love so much about it, not only the art style, which I find phenomenal, but the level of intelligence with the show, which I think is what I really liked about Rick and Morty, and what I still really like about it, just the level of intelligence that is, because it's not like, obviously it's not just like thrown in your face, but it's there. And like there are jokes and scenarios that are happening that you have to think about a little bit, which I find really great. But in the show, like halfway through, there is, to me at least, I view it as like a show inside of a show, which when you do watch it, you learn that, so basically the entire show is about these aliens that are like trying to live life with humans. And like the humans on Earth know that they're aliens. So it's not like a whole like trying to like disguise yourself like Roger from American Dad. But yeah, Jesus Christ. God. Whole nother show. But these quote unquote children aliens, because you don't actually find out how old they are, they have the ability to like shrink people down, and they create this entire community in the house of these tiny people that you explore the the society of this small life. It's really cool. It's really, really cool. And they even have like a cliffhanger within that society. It's, I mean, just a genius show. I mean, just so smart. And I absolutely have realized that I am obsessed with the writing style of Mike McMahon?
I think it's McMahon.
Okay, yeah. And I just find him to be so funny and just so smart.
I'll definitely have to look into that one, because I was still on the fence of like, is it out yet? Is it?
Do it. And then tell me when you're done and we can talk about it, because I have so much to say about it and no one to talk to.
I might even get Hunter to watch it, maybe.
Do it.
Speaking of Roger, apparently American Dad released a new season, and it's apparently really good. I just learned about this yesterday or this morning.
Oh my god. I love American Dad, specifically because I'm obsessed with Steve and Roger. And the way that the characters
dynamics.
Yes. Man.
I just love the voice acting styles of dang, I can't even remember his name right now.
I'll look it up. Hold on.
I think he voices both Stan and Roger.
Oh, Seth MacFarlane?
Yes.
Yeah.
Him. His voice acting style is phenomenal. There's this show on Netflix that just recently had its 3rd season come out.
Oh.
That it's considered an anime, but it is definitely an adult cartoon. It's called Agretzko.
Agretzko?
The main character's name is Retzko, and she's an accountant. So she lives like, I
know exactly who you're talking about.
Okay, a normal everyday life, but she hates her job, and in secret she screams like death metal at a karaoke.
Yes, I was literally talking to my roommate about that show, and she's a cat, correct?
I think she's considered like a red panda or something.
Oh, okay.
But like, even though it is a cartoon, air quotes cartoon, it has like adult themes in it, and it's literally a show for an adults that looks like it was made for kids.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, the same is said for The Simpsons, where, and I think that's a lot with like pretty much any adult animation. I think because the viewing aspect of it is animation, people automatically assume, it must be for children. Yeah. And I mean, I would never allow a child to watch Archer. The adult content and even context of that show, sometimes I watch it and I'm like, am I old enough for this?
Like, some cartoons sprinkle in some adult humor, just so that like if the adult has to watch it with the kid, they can kind of laugh and have those kind of things happen. But like, there are some cartoons that are made for adults. Yeah. And just Agretzko just makes me laugh.
It's so good. And if you guys want to find it, it is on Netflix.
It is on Netflix.
It's wonderful. So funny. I had Reagan from Fandom Society, who introduced me to the show.
And
suggested it for me. And Man, I remember senior year watching it and just thinking it was the funniest thing in the world.
Have you
and
watched
I still do.
season 3 yet? It like recently just came out.
I have not. I didn't know that there was a season 3. I will have to check that out. Oh.
I think it might have just came out 2 weeks ago or something, but Hunter and I have already finished watching it. Season 3 it adds another layer to it that you didn't know that you needed.
Ooh. Yeah, I'll definitely have to check it out. And we both highly recommend this show to everyone to watch it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I will say my absolute number one favorite quote-unquote adult cartoon, I would definitely label it as an adult cartoon, but Bob's Burgers.
I don't watch enough of that, but what I have seen of it, I do enjoy.
Girl,
like,
they've got all of it.
Ooh, is it on Hulu or something like
that? Is it on Hulu? It's all on Hulu, yes.
Okay, because back whenever I had cable TV, I watched a couple of it like on Adult Swim.
It is so good.
I just never got to watch it again. The voice, the only actual female voice in the family is actually the sister in Gravity Falls.
Yes. So I was going to touch on that. What's her name? Kristen Chow?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's her name.
A names person.
So I had watched a lot of Bob's Burgers, and then I watched Gravity Falls, and literally within...
I'm Mable!
Yup, in a few seconds of hearing her voice, I was like, hold up. I know this voice.
I watched Gravity Falls before Bob's Burgers, so it was slightly off-putting for me. Like, I feel like going from Bob's Burgers to Gravity Falls might be a little off-putting, but Gravity Falls to Bob's Burgers was very off-putting for me. I'm just like, I can't unsee what I've seen, unhear what I've heard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But Bob's Burgers is that one show for me that I constantly watch. And I watch I have Bob's Burgers on the TV when I'm editing as like background noise, which if you know me at all, I have to have background noise with nearly everything I'm doing. Just to help me focus. I don't know how that's a thing, but there it is.
I play background music at my work computer all the time. It's low enough that it's just, I can hear it in my cubicle.
Yep.
And sometimes my office bestie, who sits right next to me, across from me, you could say, she can sometimes hear it, and she'll just look over at me and go, Black Parade? They're just random songs that she actually recognizes. She'll
just pick up on.
Uh-huh.
I love it. So an adult show that I love and still watch and didn't even start watching, I think, until high school, I think. End of high school was The Boondocks.
I think I've seen a couple episodes of it.
It is so good.
More I have to watch. I'm learning new things as an adult of adult cartoons.
Welcome to my podcast.
Being a young adult, I am not aware of these shows to which you speak.
Are there any other cartoons that you want to talk about or bring up or share your knowledge or thoughts about?
I know more recent than really ever, I've really gotten into anime, which is its own separate topic. That's mostly what I use Netflix for.
Love anime. Oh my god. So one of my favorite anime specific shows I was shown in college. It's not on Netflix. It used to be on Netflix. But only, I think it was only the first 2 seasons that were on Netflix. But if you go to roosterteeth.com, spelled just like the animal rooster, just like the things in your mouth, teeth.com, you can find the show. And it's called Ruby. It's spelled RWBY.
Oh, wow.
So good. Such a good show. It's basically about this girl. So I guess the whole universe is all about these kids that go to this school to learn more about how to be hunters, huntresses, and in my case, like warriors.
I think I remember seeing an advertisement for that.
Girl, it's so good. I think what I really loved about it was the main character is this like young girl, and her sister also goes to this school, but to me I always viewed the show as like female empowerment. Like this very dainty-esque girl is out here with a scythe that is larger than her whole damn body, out here killing monsters and creatures, saving the day. Oh, so good. Watch it. I think, and I could be wrong, but I think there are only 3 seasons. They might have put out more that I have to look at. It's so good.
I've actually, because of who I am as a person, I've actually started making a list of the anime I've watched and kind of ranking them.
Love it. Love it.
Like story action anime or like largely comedy anime. But like my top 3 overall anime would have to be Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Oh, yes.
7 Deadly Sins, even though it's not completely out.
Watch it on Netflix. Yes.
Watch it on Netflix.
God, watch it.
Don't watch if you were horribly spoiled by the Japanese version, I'm so sorry. They fixed the English version for Netflix.
Yes.
There's that, and my third one would be My Hero Academia.
That is one I actually haven't seen.
Ooh, I don't think it's on Netflix.
I was going to say, I don't think it is either, but I've heard a lot of only good things about it.
It's still coming out, too, so there's still time to catch up. I actually like the dubbed version of it. Both the sub and the dub are good.
Ooh.
But this is one of those dubs where it's actually really good.
Oh, I love
and
that.
so I actually watch it on Funimation. And I think, I might be getting this wrong, but the voice actor for Vegeta is actually one of the characters in the show.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's really cool.
He is the symbol of peace in the show that you meet early on. He's like, they're all superheroes. My Hero Academia. They're all, well, not all superheroes. They all have, most of them have powers, and they can either become a hero, a sidekick, do nothing. But, like, the symbol of peace, the biggest, number one hero is Vegeta's voice actor.
I love that. I think that's so cool.
But my number one comedy anime is called Konosuba. And it is hilarious. I don't even know how to explain why. Like, each character is one tone, but somehow they're so one tone that it's hilarious. I don't even know how to explain it. There's this kid, I know a lot of anime do this nowadays, but there's this kid that dies in the real world and gets transported to a magical world.
Right.
But the means that he does it is that he appears before a goddess, and she can either give him magic, weapons, whatever he requests. And he requests the goddess. He wants to take the goddess with her. With him. And so she's like, all right, wait, what? No, I don't want to go. You can't make me. And it's just, and so then another goddess appears, and it's just like, hey, he already wished for it. Bye. And so then they're both stuck in this world trying to kill the big bad. They can't, in a sense, leave until they kill the big bad. And so it's not like most where they start off with anything. They literally start off dirt poor. They got to live in a barn.
Yeah.
And they eventually get 2 more party members where one, their gimmick is explosion magic and that they look like a kid. And the other, they want to be the shield for the party. They can't hit the broadside of a barn, but they want to be the shield for the party. And anytime they get hit, it turns them on. So it's just, I don't know how to, it's just really funny.
Oh my gosh. an anime that I was only introduced to my senior year of college. I would call it almost like a kid's show in a sense, like a kid's cartoon. Obviously it's got some darker elements to it, but the show is called Made in Abyss.
Nope.
And it's so cute. It's about these two orphans that one of them wants to run away and knows or thinks that they can like find their mom, which is just heartbreaking. Just absolutely heartbreaking. And the whole town knows about this abyss that it's got multiple layers. I think it's 7 layers. I could be wrong. But the more you go down into the layers, like the crazier you become. There are like gases and foods that like if you eat them or inhale them or around them, it messes with your brain and you become like you have all these hallucinations. It's so good. And the characters are so well-rounded and the voices, to me, they're just such quintessential, like, children, naive.
Yeah. That reminds me of this anime that I just finished the first season of. It's called Promised Neverland.
Ooh.
It's actually just now on Netflix, where these kids, they're basically orphans. They're all living in a house. They all have this one mother who's their caretaker. And so orphans, they get adopted like every couple months and so on and so forth. And within the first episode, like, this little 6-year-old gets adopted and, like, she accidentally leaves her big bunny behind. Oh. And so one of the rules of the house is that whenever kids are, in a sense, being shipped out, to not go to the gate.
Oh.
Makes sense. You don't want to get hurt. That's what you're thinking, right?
Right.
And so they go to the gate to bring this 6-year-old her bunny because she's going to a family. You want her to have her bunny, don't you? And so they get to the gate and they realize that the kids in the house are being sold off to demons and they're being ate. You learn that real quick. And so then the rest of season 1 is basically the kids trying to escape before they get sold off.
Oh my god. Plot twist of the century.
Oh, there's a lot of twists and turns in this just one season. And it's on Netflix. Each episode is like 22 minutes, but I watched it a while back when it was first starting to come out. I think it might have been last year, but I don't know how I got away from it, but now that it's on Netflix, I got back into it and I just had to binge it because I'm like, what's gonna happen next? What is mom gonna find out? Like all these things.
Oh my god. Okay.
Like the kids who find out are the 11-year-olds, and so something that you realize throughout the first season is that once you turn 11, no matter what, you get shipped out. Like 12 is the prime age of brain deliciousness for the demons, and so they have like a time crunch.
Wait. And maybe this is me asking a stupid question. But okay, so the girl that's 6 that gets adopted, does she actually get adopted by like people or like
adopted?
Okay, that's
they in the house think that she is adopted, but anytime the kids get adopted and taken to the gate, they instantly die because their brains get harvested for the demons.
Holy wow.
Oh, yeah.
I'm definitely going to have to look into this. I'm going to have to watch this. I need to know what's going on.
Oh, it's only, the first season's only 12 episodes, but I highly recommend it. It's great. And I think they're still in the works of the next seasons and such, because the anime itself, well, the manga has ended, so I know there is an end in sight somewhere.
Right.
But the first season has a nice, I can't say a nice, it has an ending that
an end.
Leads you to want more, but is satisfied with how the first season ends.
Okay. Wow. Animes that have like a dark spin to it almost are just the best. I mean,
Oh yeah, I definitely recommend that one. And it's on Netflix, which is easily accessible to most people.
Even better.
And just probably the last one I just recommend that I could just binge at all times is Kill La Kill. It's also on Netflix. I think it is only 24 episodes.
Okay.
But it's the first season is about main character trying to find out who killed her dad.
Oh.
And so she enrolls herself in this school to try and figure out who did it or why, because reasons I can't remember. But throughout, she has a best friend. They keep wanting to pick fights because she's like, I gotta figure out who the heck it is. Like, picture like Buttercup's personality as a teenager.
Oh, crap.
That's main character, yeah.
Oh, my.
And so her father actually made her this suit, which is basically a sailor suit uniform, like school uniform.
Yeah.
But then it transforms into this ultimate weapon that just, for the naive at heart, is very revealing. And she comments on it herself. She's just like, what kind of crap is this? Is my dad a pervert or something? And so...
Oh my god.
Throughout the show, you actually learn why.
Oh.
But I don't know why it's so good or how it's so good. It's just... Even the music in the show is just great. And it's been off the air for years, it has to be.
Oh, wow.
It's just one of those good old-fashioned shows.
Yeah.
Where I think I actually rewatched it during quarantine.
Ooh. I love that.
I completely forgot. This other TV show that is actually a kids' TV show that is still out in the works. One of the creators who was on Gravity Falls is actually, well, not the creator, one of the people involved with Gravity Falls.
Right.
Is the creator of this show. It's called The Owl House.
Oh! Is that about, I could be wrong. I don't even think I've seen it. But is it about a girl that, like, hangs out with death? Oh, nope. Totally wrong.
It's about a girl who just really loves magic / the supernatural stuff.
Oh.
And she winds up kind of accidentally in like another dimension where witches are real and she could do magic. And so she kind of finds a mentor who takes her under her wing.
Haha, owl.
There's more to that. but yeah, they call her the Owl Lady.
Oh.
Which is why I meant there's more to that. But I definitely recommend that show. Its first season just ended. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those, it has some dark tones to it.
Okay.
Some incredibly dark tones, as I've just been told.
Oh.
But as well as having a good story, it's kind of like, like Gravity Falls, where you just have this overarching plot, while at the same time, the shenanigans are happening.
Yeah.
Where, like, it's manages to be comical while at the same time just very interesting, but not too silly kind of thing.
Okay.
Where they're like, at one point in time, they're trying to get arrested by their police, and they're like, how do we get arrested by the police? And so they literally stand on this property that says, do not walk on the grass, and they're just like, oh, look at us.
Jesus.
And so it has that kind of humor. It's just a great show.
That sounds adorable.
Mm-hmm.
What would you recommend to our friends?
I know the Avatar the Last Airbender community is just a great one to be a part of. Like, I'm in different Facebook groups where all they do is share memes and there's like no hate in the group.
Oh.
Stay away from the Steven Universe fandom. It is toxic AF. Like,
oh, yikes.
You're not allowed to say anything bad about the show. Most of what I would recommend to people kind of sprinkled in throughout the episode, like just some of the older cartoons we mentioned. I would love to tell you I'd read books, but that would be a lie.
Oh my god.
But
oh my god.
I do enjoy books for their story aspect, but I'm one of those people where whenever I read, it just lulls me to sleep. It makes my eyes so heavy. I'm just like, must pay attention, must close eyes. There was literally this one book that I tried so hard a few years ago to finish reading, but then it killed off my favorite character, and I was just like, no, I'm not reading the rest of that. I don't even remember what it was called, but it was basically a zombie apocalypse type situation. Okay. And like the mentor of the group was an older sir that kind of reminded me of my father if he was in a zombie apocalypse.
Of course.
And so then like he got killed by these it was about these people in a town going out to see if there was any other supplies and stuff that they could find around the area. And so then the guy that I really liked, who was like the father figure to these kids, who reminded me of my father, was like a gang appeared and just saw him and shot him. And I'm just like, Jesus. No build up, just dead. Yeah.
Oh my god. If anyone knows the book that she's talking about, let us know. Inform us. We want to know what this book is called. I definitely want to know what this book is called so I can at least look it up and see what's up.
I can see the cover art, but that's about it. I think it's a series.
Oh.
But I did buy it at Books A Million, and that was the last book I read.
I do recommend, because I also very much struggle with sitting down, taking time to read a book. I've been like that since I can remember. I remember growing up just being so insecure about reading. Yeah. And so I really try now to read books. And so I was a very slow reader.
I understand. I think I'm slightly dyslexic.
Okay.
So sometimes a word will get switched and I not really realize it.
Yeah. But so I really recommend, and this is not sponsored, this is just my own opinions, my own thoughts.
Audible.
Yes. Highly recommend Audible. I've been using Audible since, I want to say since junior or senior year of high school. And it was just a game changer for me when I had to read books in high school. I would just be able to listen to them while I was working on other stuff. I could listen to them while taking notes. Even now, I listen to books while I'm driving in my car.
Yeah.
And
I've done that for road trips, just to kind of keep yourself awake.
Exactly. And that's a big reason why I listen to podcasts, is I like that kind of story aspect. So yeah, I highly recommend Audible.
Anything Nintendo.
Yeah.
I am a Nintendo baby. I had an Xbox 360 once. Ooh. It got the red ring of death and killed my spirits. I haven't really gone back to Xbox since then.
Okay.
And the fiance has a PlayStation, which we've played a lot of games off of that. So I do like PlayStation games as well. We're actually recently playing through all the Dragon Age games.
Ooh.
And so different Dragon Age games are for different people, because what was a problem in the last game, they'll fix for the next game. And so that gets rid of some of the things you might have liked in the first game. So that it seems like they're trying to appease the audience, but haven't quite figured it out yet. But they're still good in their own right. And a game I definitely recommend is Persona 5. / Persona 5R. If you haven't played it yet, play it. Sink that 200 hours into it. I fused every Persona I could possibly get. I filled out the compendium as much as possible. Hunter and I, he actually did more of the story aspects, and I watched him. Mm-hmm. And I took over anytime we went in Mementos. Oh. Because that was my favorite part. So I'd explore Mementos and fuse the Persona. And I'd be like, all right, here's the Persona you have for your next dungeon. Yeah. It's like, I was just reminded, I created Satan at one point in time. And it's like, hey, look, it's your boy Satan. Oh, my God. I also got Messiah, so it evens it out. Kind of balances stuff out. Anything, like, I specifically thoroughly enjoy Legend of Zelda. They just recently announced that they're doing a bunch of Mario stuff, and so I'm getting the 3D bundle. Ooh. Where it has all 3 of their most famous 3D Marios, where it's Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy. Ooh. Love me some Smash Brothers. I'm not good at the game, but I love it. Same. I'm more of a Mario Kart person. Oh, I am such trash at Mario Kart. Oh. I think I'm just, like, pretty terrible at, like, most video games. I just love playing them. Yeah, I definitely relate with that. I'm not the greatest at playing, but boy, do I love being a part of the experience. Movies, I'm a horror movie kind of person. Okay. But I haven't been able, like, to really get into too many movies recently just because, well, 1, the movie theaters have been closed down. And 2, most of what Hunter and I go to see are superhero movies, so Marvel, DC, Aquaman, and the new Wonder Woman movie is coming out. It was supposed to come out on my birthday. Oh! But it got delayed. Oh! I would definitely recommend the Sonic the Hedgehog movie just because, like, they actually listened to the fans and fixed Sonic in the movie from what they originally had designed, and I think it deserves a couple rewatches just for that. That's good. Yeah. And it's just a good movie. Jim Carrey is picture like Ace Ventura meets the Grinch. Oh. Like that kind of combo is how I would explain his personality. Just people I'm subscribed to on YouTube, I guess. Ooh, I recommend Rhett and Link. I watch them every morning. Love them. Absolutely perfect beings. That's a gimme. I definitely recommend NSP or Ninja Sex Party. Yep. The music group. Oh my god, I love it. Danny Sexbane's voice melts your mouth and your ears. Oh. They just released a song this year that's just called I Don't Know What We're Talking About. Yep, sounds about right. I definitely recommend them. They've just gotten better and better. Their earlier stuff is still a gem, but their most recent stuff, ever since they have combined with another band whose name escapes me, Twerp, TWRP. Jesus Christ. I'm getting news from the silent protagonist. Ever since they added them to the band, I think, I don't want to say their music has gotten better, but because it's not just 2 people in the band where you have a keyboard and vocals, you can actually have a live band behind you. Yeah. Oh, they were actually on Conan. I forgot about that. Oh. We love Conan O'Brien. They had a song that actually had the star of, I think it's Supernatural, play a younger version of Danny. His name is Finn. Finn W. He was in Supernatural? Either Supernatural or Stranger Things. Stranger Things, yeah. Yeah, him. He played a younger version of him in the...
Well, I was going to say the two main actors from Supernatural are like 40 plus. So it's like younger versions?
Oh.
Or maybe they're younger, but like...
What are words?
So where can our listeners find you?
Well, as we've mentioned throughout the podcast, conversation and podcast just and had a baby in my mouth.
The concast.
So, the concast, exactly. So I have a YouTube channel where my name is Shy Jeff. That's CheyJeff.
Mm-hmm.
You can also find me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is CJ_the_DJ_.
Oh my god.
CJ the DJ.
Oh my god.
So that's most of the, let's say, publicity of things that I use.
Perfect.
I made a TikTok just to promote my YouTube.
Ooh.
So it's literally just my YouTube videos in a shortened version on TikTok. Trying to advertise myself.
I mean, that's what you got to do.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
I would personally like to thank Cheyenne for being on the podcast with us. It has been wonderful talking with you.
Thank you.
It's been fun talking to someone without a mask.
Oh, if you like, I can put my mask on.
But then you'll be muffled.
Yeah, oh god.
But yeah, I've had fun. I'd do it again. We just gotta find another topic.
Yeah, that would be great.
Or a part two, part two,
all anime.
All anime, because that we could talk about.
For hours, literal hours. I mean, we've been doing this for almost 3 hours straight.
Yeah, and like the last half an hour to hour turned into accidental anime. The shift between childhood and adulthood. You no longer watch cartoons. You watch anime now.
You only watch anime.
You only watch anime.